Hi, welcome to Summertime is Reading Time in the Diamond. My name is Congressman Vargas, and I represent parts of southeastern San Diego in Congress. I'm excited to be reading to you during the summer campaign's week of red, white, and blue, when we celebrate our nation's independence on the 4th of July. I am reading to you with the permission of the publisher, Chronicle Books. The title of today's book is Her Right Foot. It is written by Dave Eggers and illustrated by Sean Harris. And here it is, and here we go. Her right foot. You have likely heard of a place called France. And here's a cool looking cafe in France. That's very nice. I wish we could go there. If you've heard of France, you may have heard of the French. They are people who live in France. And here they are now. They're at that nice cafe, having a really good time. I wish we were there. We'll be there soon. You may have also heard of something called the Statue of Liberty. I'm sure you've heard of it. And there she is. Isn't she beautiful? Do you know that the Statue of Liberty comes from France? This is true because this is a factual book. One day, a Frenchman named Edouard de la Bouillaye had an idea. The idea was to celebrate 100 years of the United States of America. Had been around by giving them a giant sculpture. So he convinced another Frenchman, a Frenchman with an Italian last name, to design the sculpture. The artist's name was Frederic Auguste Bartholdi. Bartholdi designed the statue. And here are the two men. Look how excited they are, huh? Isn't that terrific? They've got a good idea. Although they look like they're almost fighting, but they're not. They're excited. He first made very small models of the sculpture, then larger ones, and finally, the one that we know, the one that stands 305 feet above the water. That's huge. This final full-size version was covered with a thin copper skin. The skin is about as thick as 2 pennies. That's not very thick. So the actual skin is very, very thin, like our own skin. See, there's the small models, and then there's the monster one, huh? Pretty big. I think that foot is bigger than Shaq's foot. It's huge. Here's a rendering of Bartholdi and his team. He had a team. He did not work alone. He did not like working alone, constructing the statue's hand. Notice that the hand is bigger than these men. Thus, they made the statue in many parts. Look how gigantic that hand is. Can you see the little men on there? That's the actual size. They were tiny compared to that giant hand. The parts were assembled in New York City. It's kind of funny looking parts, aren't they? It doesn't look like a statue there, but it will later on. No, wait. First, they were assembled in Paris. Did you know this? Ask your friends and even your teachers if they knew that before the Statue of Liberty was assembled in New York, she was first constructed in Paris. Your friends and teachers will be astounded. They will be impressed. They might think you are fibbing, but you're not fibbing. This really happened. The Statue of Liberty stood there high above Paris for almost a year in 1884. Wouldn't that have been interesting to see the Statue of Liberty right there in Paris? Wow. We always think of it in New York, but that was in Paris. They assembled the statue in Paris. Then they took it apart. But didn't we just put it together, they said? The workers said that. This is absurd, they said. They said all this in French, the language of the French. People who know about the absurd. Anyway, that's them right there. They thought this is crazy. In 1885, after they took it apart, then they put parts in 214 crates And they put those crates on a boat, and the boat was called the Isere. The boat traveled over the Atlantic Ocean and made its way to a city called New York, which is also a state called New York. New York, New York, like the song. And there's the little boat going over the big ocean, huh? It doesn't seem like it could carry the statue, but I guess it did. Wow, hundreds of workers, perhaps 214, took the pieces out of the 214 boxes. Then they began to rivet the pieces together. Assembling the statue took 17 months. Wow, that's almost a year and a half. And it all happened on what they called before Bedloe's Island. Here is Bedloe's Island, and you can see the rest of New York. You can also see the little ship parked there, huh? Bartholdi liked to see the sculpture rise above the harbor. Sometimes he watched the construction from the water. Sometimes he watched it from the land. Usually he was wearing a sturdy black hat, for he, like most European men at the time, favored sturdy black hats. So there he is in his sturdy black hat, looking at the statue. Almost looks like Abraham Lincoln there, doesn't he? With that hat. Abraham Lincoln used to have a big old hat like that too. You may have noticed by now that the pictures of the Statue of Liberty in this book have her colored brown. You may have thought that the illustrator of this book was not so good at his job, because we all know that the Statue of Liberty has a certain greenish blue, but the statue was made of copper, and copper starts out brown. Then, very slowly, when it's left outside for long periods of time, copper will eventually oxidize. And when it does, it turns blue-green in color. So oxidation or oxidize means it changes color. And that's what copper does. See, it starts off here very brown, then it gets greenish. You probably see that with pennies sometimes when you find them on the ground and they don't look so shiny anymore. But they start off shiny. So the Statue of Liberty that everyone in New York saw being constructed was actually brown. The Statue of Liberty, in fact, was brown for about 35 years, so it was brown for a long time. The statue turned green around 1920 and has been this color ever since. Perhaps you already knew that. So again, starts off brown and then turns the color that she is today. Isn't that interesting? And you may also have known that the book the statue is carrying, the one in her left hand, features the date July 4th, 1776, on which the Declaration of Independence was signed. And there's her book, carrying it, huh? You may have also known that the 7 spikes on her crown represent the 7 seas on the earth and the 7 continents, and maybe also the sun's rays. There she is. And you notice those? Aren't they beautiful? And they really look cool in real life. She's huge. I hope you get to see her in New York. And you probably know that the torch she carries is a symbol of enlightenment, lighting the path to liberty and to freedom. And there's her torch. Now they have it brown there because it hasn't turned green yet, but it's green today. In fact, actually, it's kind of shiny today. They actually shined it up. As you might have known, that at one point, Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb and the record player, once proposed to have a giant record player inside the Statue of Liberty. He did. That's what he wanted. He wanted the statue to be able to speak. In the end, though, the idea was considered a bit strange, and so they didn't put it in. But that would have been funny, maybe a little scary, too, the big statue talking. And did you know that the interior of the statue was designed by another Frenchman by the name of Eiffel? That's right, the same Eiffel who, a few years later, would design the Eiffel Tower. So here is part of the Eiffel Tower, one of the most famous structures in the world. And you've probably seen the Eiffel Tower whenever you talk about France, and especially Paris, there's the Eiffel Tower. But inside the Statue of Liberty, that's what she looks like. She has a lot of the same steel, a lot of the same features as the Eiffel Tower. Isn't that interesting? The same person designed it. And did you know that while the statue was first being constructed in Paris, a bunch of Parisians, that's what people from Paris are called, mostly writers, they like to eat, actually dined in the area just below the statue's knee. That's kind of funny, huh? They're on the statue. This, too, is true. It's true. While the statue was rising up, while they were building it, Bartholdi set up a lunch 4 stories up to impress and enthrall these French writers, who, being difficult to impress and enthrall, were at least mildly amused. At least they thought it was interesting. So there they are up in the air, and there they are having a little meal. Huh? But there's one thing that you might not know. And this is central to this point in this book, a point that the author apologizes for taking so long to get to. The point is that even if you've seen the picture of the Statue of Liberty, or many pictures of the Statue of Liberty, or even hundreds of pictures of the Statue of Liberty, you probably haven't seen pictures of her feet. Isn't that interesting? And even if you have seen pictures of her feet, you probably have not seen pictures of the back of her feet, in particular, her right foot. So, can you see her foot there? Huh? Most people don't even think about it, but it's going to be very important. I hope you pay attention to this part. Very important. What do you notice when you see the picture? There it is. Look, they're looking up. What do you notice? They still don't figure it out, and they're looking at it. They don't know. Well, that's right. She is going somewhere. She's on the move. Look. If you take a look at this angle, you can see that she's actually moving. The Statue of Liberty is in action. She's moving. Most people don't know that. You know that now. Let's pause here and collect ourselves and think about this. Let's discuss this. Let's think about and discuss the fact that it is the largest sculpture in the land and the most iconic symbol of the United States of America, which means it's the one that most people know. Let's talk about the fact that this statue has welcomed millions of visitors and immigrants to the United States of America. See, there's a whole lot of people that's welcomed, huh? Very diverse group of people. Isn't that wonderful? Just like our country, very diverse. People talk about her unusual headwear, you know, the thing on her head. They talk about her gown, which seems to have a heavy kind of garment and would likely result in very serious back injuries. See, they're all talking about a very diverse group of people, huh? They're all talking about the Statue of Liberty because it's so well known. People love the Statue of Liberty. People really think about it. They talk about how beautiful her torch is and the severe look on her face. If you do look at her face, she looks very serious. See? You see that guy? He looks pretty serious, huh? This young man here. But no one talks about the fact that she is walking. This 150-foot tall woman is on the go. Boy, that is tall. You can barely see her foot there. She's on the go. She's moving away from us. Let's catch her. She's going away. Every time we see the Statue of Liberty in pictures, or any time we imagine the Statue of Liberty, we see her standing very still. Well, like a statue, right? So these are some of the pictures of her. And we think of her as being still, just sitting there like a statue. Yeah. Like a bump on a log. But that's not true. Because she's moving. She weighs 450,000 pounds. It's more than I weigh. And wears a size 879 size shoe. And she's moving. How can we all miss that? Or even if we saw this and noticed this, how is it that we have seen and noticed a 450,000-pound human on her way somewhere and said, just another 150-foot-tall woman walking off in a 150-foot-tall pedestal. See, that's her shadow. Now see how they're pointing up because she's walking. People don't think about her walking, but she's walking. And most importantly, where is she going? Is she going to Soho to get a panini? Soho's in New York, a little bit further away from where she is. No, she's not going there. Is she going to the West Village to look for vintage Nico records? No, she's not walking there, although that would scare the daylights out of people, wouldn't it? No. She's facing southwest. So she is facing New Jersey. Could she be going to Trenton in New Jersey? Yeah, that would scare them, huh? See that big statue walking over to New Jersey? Wait, no. She's facing southeast. So she's not going to New Jersey, but she could be going somewhere else. But where? Where is she going now? Here's someone looking at her in a skyscraper as she walks by. Although she's not really walking by, but she is walking. And this is something very interesting. There are certain things we know. We know that around her feet are chains. They are broken chains, implying that she has freed herself from bondage. We know that Bartholdi wanted us to know this. He wanted us to see the chains. People have talked about the chains, so you can see here the chains. So the chains are something that people have seen when they take a look at her, and they do talk about the chains that she's broken so she can walk. They want you to know that she's free to walk. But few talk about the foot. That is so obviously in mid-stride, about the fact that her entire right leg is in mid-stride. What does that mean? What does this mean that we often forget about this right foot, this right leg? See, you can see through silhouetting through her dress that's how her leg and foot would look if you could see them. You can't see all of it, of course, because it's in the big, beautiful drapes that she has, her gown that she has. Here's an idea. Here's a theory. Here is a reminder. If the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom, if the Statue of Liberty has welcomed millions of immigrants to the United States, then how can she stand still? How can she do that if she's welcoming so many people? See? There she is welcoming people. Isn't that nice? People always think about her welcoming people. I love that. Welcome to the United States of America. It says, welcome. Liberty and freedom from oppression are not things you get or grant by standing around like some kind of statue. No. These are things that require action, courage, and unwillingness to rest. You can't rest. If you're welcoming people, if you're freeing yourself from oppression, you got to be on the move. And that's what she's doing. See? Those poor people. They have suffered a lot. They come to our country so they can be free. And the Statue of Liberty welcomes them. The Statue of Liberty was not built to welcome just 1,886 immigrants from Italy on a certain Sunday in, say, 1886. No, she was built to welcome 3,000 immigrants from Poland the next day. Also, the next day, 5,000 Norwegians. And the next day, 10,000 Glaswegians. Oh, that's a lot of people. Then Cambodians, then Estonians, then Somalis, and then Nepalis, Syrians, Liberians. See, and people come in different ways. They come on boats, ships, the old boat there. They come on planes, modern planes. Isn't that cool? And they all come looking for liberty, freedom. And the statue's there to welcome them. It never ends. And it cannot end. We don't want it to end. See, people are coming from everywhere. And there's the beautiful statue in the harbor in New York. I've seen it before. It really is beautiful. After all, the Statue of Liberty is an immigrant too. And this is why she's moving. This is why she's striding. She too is an immigrant, just like this lady. See? This lady's coming with her baby. She's an immigrant, just like the Statue of Liberty. And that's why we welcome her too, just like the Statue of Liberty. In welcoming the poor, the tired, the struggling to breathe free. See, all these people that are welcomed. Isn't that wonderful? They're all welcome to the United States. And the statue is there to welcome them. She is not content to wait. She can't wait. She goes out to greet people in the harbor. She's out there saying, welcome. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? See that? Huh? You don't wait for a friend. You run out and you hug them and you say, welcome. She meets them in the sea. She's in the sea. Huh? See that? Welcoming the people as they arrive. There she is. And look at these little kids here watching. Huh? She stands there welcoming all. Now there's a beautiful picture of her in real life. Now, lastly, there's a beautiful poem, and I'm going to read you the last part of this poem. With silent lips, she reads, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shores. Send these, the homeless, the tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Emma Lazarus wrote this poem to raise money for the construction of the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty where she stands on. Now the poem is engraved and posted on the Statue of Liberty. Isn't that beautiful? How she welcomes people. She does that today. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate you listening. Thank you for joining me. And please don't forget to record all of the Read Aloud books you listen to in your summer reading log so you can win prizes from the library. Again, thank you. Bye-bye.